Hey everybody, and welcome to this episode 130 something, 131 of the Self-Publishing Roundtable. I'm really bad about the numbers. This is the podcast for indie authors by indie authors. Host Wade Finnegan cannot be here tonight because he is sick as a figurative dog. So I have been asked to fill in. I'm indie author Xavier Granville, and with me always is Erica Conroy.
Hi guys.
And this week we're delighted to be joined by author Carolynn Gockel.
Hi.
Thanks for coming aboard, Carolynn.
Thank you for having me.
So people will know Carolynn from her I Bring the Fire series. She's done a lot of different work within different short story bundles. She's got a new series out, the Archangel Project, yeah, most people otherwise would know her from her Kboards entries about deciding to hit a bestseller list. So we thought it would be good timing to have her on, and yeah, like I said, thanks for coming aboard. And then maybe if there's anything I missed out, maybe could you fill in anyone that doesn't know anything about you at all for the layman out there that doesn't know what I'm talking about?
My name is, I go by C. Gockel when I write. It's shorter, easier to fit on a cover. And yes, I think you about hit it. I wrote I Bring the Fire, and it is a series about Loki. As many people know, he's the god of mischief and chaos, but he's also often attributed as the god to be the god of fire. And I finished that series up. Maybe I might come back to it. It's out there. It's calling me sometimes. And I've started a new space opera called The Archangel Project, which is more. It's about it's about the time. It's about first contact, and also it deals with artificial intelligence as well, and it's like right when humanity is on the verge of making that next great technological leap. And I thought it would be these would be fun themes to explore. I mean, I can play with what are humans, and what is intelligence. Yes, and I have a short story bundle out that we just released for it. It's called Starbound, and it features one of the alien intelligences in it. And he is adorable, 10-legged, rat-eating weasel. His name is Carl Sagan, maybe.
Delicious.
Yeah.
America,
so Carolynn, yeah, I'll get straight into it. So Carolynn, why did you suddenly decide that you wanted to make a bestseller list? What was your
So everything I do in terms of incremental advancement of my career. I've seldom had like a huge, tremendous leap. None of my books have like really taken off when they've first been published. And I had just been talking to people, and just readers, not authors, readers who were telling me, yeah, when I see something on the bestseller list, I'm just, more likely to pick it up. And so I've heard some people say, oh, it only 4 to 5% of people care. But I don't think that that's precisely true. I think that if you ask me, hey, do you care about the bestseller list, I would probably say no. But then I was thinking, but maybe on a subliminal level it matters. And after talking to several advertisers, like Abby at eBook Butterfly and others, I realized there's probably something to it. I didn't do it because I thought it would make me rich, but I thought that over time it would just be, the 10 more downloads that I need, or and then the 10 more follow-up sales that I would need to make my numbers every month.
Awesome. And just to let the folks listening know, did you make any of these bestseller lists?
I made the USA Today list. The New York Times list is curated, and I mean, you can read about the New York Times list and how that gets Well, you don't want to say plague because it sounds like sour grapes or something, but I mean, I've been talking to people who've worked at bookstores, and what they said is that the book would come in and would already say New York Times bestseller list. So, and it has a weird way of people who work for the New York Times have a weird way of like being on the New York Times bestseller list, and people who are like the children of editors, they wind up on the New York Times bestseller list. So the USA Today list, though, is just flat out. We're just looking at all the numbers, and who's ever selling the most, we're gonna show them.
Awesome. So this obviously would have taken quite a bit of effort from woe to go. So could you outline the strategy that you use to achieve your goal?
Well, I was fortunate to have a BookBub. BookBub is the best seller out there, and so I had a BookBub to back me up. And what I basically did is I went out and I looked at all the I've been promoting books and box sets and anthologies for a couple of years now. I'm in charge of a few of the promotional side of a couple anthologies at the moment. Just the promotion that deals with booking newsletters. And so I knew the good ones, and so I really got those. There are newsletters that you can spend money on. I'm not going to mention any names because I feel that maybe I'm just not a right fit, and I don't want to say anything bad about anyone. But there are some that I have used in the past that have not moved the number at all. So I did try to spend wisely, but I also spent a lot of money. I spent over 1,000 in ads, and I've actually posted on Kboards. We could probably pull up the link, all the ads that I booked. And I also spent not about that much probably on Facebook ads as well. So yes, I did make the list. For a little while, I was worried that I wasn't going to make it on because you need 500 sales on Nook. Apparently, they will not report without 500 sales. And before my BookBub hit on Thursday, I had very few, and so I was really panicked for a while because I wasn't sure how I could possibly go from 99 to 500. And I think the biggest mistake I made when I set up my promotion is that I used Facebook, but I used it in oh my god reactionary mode. I should have been like going in saying I'm going to spend $130 a day on Facebook, and I'm going to put $80 into Amazon and another 50 onto Nook, and I should have just done it steadily like that, and I think I would have had better results with Facebook. But I was just in a panic mode, so yeah. But I made the list, and I did earn my money back in the end.
Oh, that's always good when that happens, doesn't it? Is that why? Well, obviously it has to. Does it have to be a sale book in order to get onto the list, or can it be a free book?
It has to be on sale. It cannot be free. Another way that a lot of people have gotten onto the list is who haven't been able to get a BookBub. Is I've seen people who've hit the list with about like 20 different authors in a box set. And what I've heard is that there are services that tweet just for Nook, and so they utilize the Nook list, and they would probably utilize places like eBook Butterfly, which has a pretty good Nook reach. There's eReader News Today, Book Barbarian for fantasy. There are a couple advertisers that are wide. And they also told me that they spent a lot of money on Facebook to get those Nook readers. But yes, that's another way. If you cannot get a BookBub, another way to do it is to go in with a lot of different authors and pool your mailing list, because your mailing list is so much stronger than any advertising site except BookBub.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that we see more often than anything, that if we do find someone at least to bring on as a guest that does have one of those acclaimed titles, such as a USA Today bestseller or New York Times bestseller, like you had mentioned, it would be attributed to the fact that they were in on a major bundle with other authors, and so it tends to get into that argument of, well, who out of the one author actually made the money off the thing. And I think that really it gets annoying at that point, because if you crack the USA Today, then who cares which one of the 12 did it? They all did it. The Dirty Dozen did it.
Yeah, they all worked really hard. Yeah. And I mean, you would think that they all had, books that could be popular, that had some popular appeal.
Well, and that's just it. Like, it tells me that the compilation didn't have that one that stuck out to that point that it cost them that chart ranking.
Yeah, that's true.
That's where we at in the questions wise. Okay, so were there certain lists that you wanted? Like, were you specifically going for USA Today? I know that's what you ended up getting, but were you just going for bestsellers, generic?
I mean, I would have loved to hit the New York Times bestseller list, but I mean, I didn't really think I would have a chance. I just, maybe if I had gotten it earlier in the week and I had somebody, like if I got like Nook to feature me, Kobo to feature me, and like Apple to feature me all at the same time, maybe I could have done it. I'm not really sure though. I've heard that the New York Times list is at least 15,000 sales. So, I mean, I guess I could do other things too. Like if I had my box, I did a box set of my own. It was 3 novels and a novella together, and I think that maybe I could have done something like actually produced a print version of it. I don't think that they would take an audio version's numbers, but the print version's numbers would get added into the numbers of sales.
Do you think that genre plays a huge factor in it? I mean, why did you choose this particular bundle as opposed to any of the others that...
Well, because this was the only bundle I have. I've only written sci-fi and fantasy. But I do think that romance would probably be easier, a crime thriller, because those are just more popular genres. I write mythological-based fantasy, so for that, so a little more difficult.
Yeah. Minx, did you have a question about genre?
Yeah, I did. From someone who is also doing something in the mythological region, how much research were you doing into the Norse mythology and all that stuff before you jumped on to doing the whole Loki-based storyline?
I researched quite a bit. I don't know if you guys know, but I got my start in fan fiction, and I had written Star Trek and then Star Wars and Narnia, and then I got to Marvel. And for some of my fan fictions, I started doing some research, and I love the portrayal of Loki by Tom Hiddleston, but I don't really like Marvel's version of Loki. And so I researched on the internet. I was very deeply influenced by Trickster Makes This World by Lewis Hyde, he was very nice. I actually quoted him at length in one of my books, and I ribbed him a little in the text. I have one of my main characters say, "This guy is kind of creepy," and I showed it to Mr. Hyde, and he's like, "That's funny. You should leave it in." And so I did it. He's a really nice guy, but it's all about how, the book is a lot about how change brought about by tricksters, that like little bit of chaos, is actually how it's a fundamental aspect of life and culture, and how we need to have that chaos, that spark of mischief. And if you go too far one way, it's not good. And if you go too, if it goes too far, it's obviously bad. Loki is interesting because when he is considered sometimes the god of fire, And but he was specifically the god of the hearth fire. And if you think about the god of the hearth fire, so you think of the hearth fire, you tend it, you watch it, and it'll keep you warm. It'll cook your food. It'll, you know, it's there for you. It is good. But if you leave it alone, it'll either die out or it'll set your house on fire. So, you know, that was something that I thought about a lot when I was writing the series too. I don't try to redeem Loki, but I do try to redeem chaos, the idea of chaos.
I love that.
And now that you've had such a huge success with this bundle, and like 11 billion people have downloaded it, and hopefully all of them are reading it, do you plan to write more for the Loki series, or is that it?
I have a couple ideas that have been brewing around in my head. There was a time before when Loki, when he was not with the heroine, he was going off on his own adventure. I didn't write anything that happened during that time other than to say it was kind of a bad time for him. But I thought that I might actually explore like some of his adventures during that time. And people have also asked me to write something that happens at the end of the series. And I might do that too, because there is some ideas about, like, you know, I've explored the destructive side of chaos, but I haven't explored the creative side of chaos as much. And I think that that's something worthy of looking at. People always say they love creation, but actually, creation and destruction tend to go hand in hand, and people don't always like it. They say they like it, but they don't.
Well, it's just like the people who read serials and they go, I don't like cliffhangers, yet they're still reading them, you know? People don't always say what they mean, or they're lying. Yeah.
Well, and that's just the juxtaposition of it all. You know, it's like every vampire book ever. You know, the question of immortality goes along with the fact that now that I'm living forever, I have to watch everyone else die. That's the back and forth of that thing. With chaos tends to be good and evil at the same time. In the one series of gods that I'm writing, the father figure is the god Heimdall from Norse mythology. So the fact that he sees all and knows everything probably makes him a bad father, because he knows exactly what you're up to, but he's also very much
masturbating.
Yeah, but he's also very much distracted by the fact that there's frost giants, you know, raging war between another realm. So he's not really all that there.
Did you know Heimdall? I read some interpretations where saying he's the son of Loki, because yes, you have seen it. Okay, I put that in my story. He's not very happy about it.
And that's the great thing about from the myths. You have a lot to pull upon and then bring down into at least these mortal sense of, you know, just character relations. You know, you can really just go nuts with the archetypes.
Yes.
And all that incest. I mean, come on.
Oh, come on. Yeah. Don't get me going on about the Greeks. Oh boy, that pantheon's messed.
Should we ask the audience question there, Alex?
Yeah, let's do that. From Kate Morgan, she asks, in all this furor of focusing on hitting USA Today, how much did reviews factor into that, and how did you go about getting them?
Oh, okay. So I did say that BookBub was my major advertiser, and everything was hinged on BookBub. And I didn't have a lot of reviews for the bundle. However, I have a lot of reviews for the individual titles, and that's really what they looked at. So I have a lot of reviews, and I'm sure that they factored in a lot. Now, the way I go about getting reviews is that whenever I hit like a factor of 10 on my books, so like I get 10 reviews, I'm like, oh my gosh, I go to my Facebook page, I go to my Tumblr, and I say, thank you so much for these reviews. And I tell people, my fans, because I do have wonderful fans, and I tell them what reviews mean to us. I mean, they're not just about getting, they do help, they do lend legitimacy and they do help sales, but they also, I mean, when you're feeling really low because you haven't published in a while and your sales are sinking and you're thinking, oh my God, it's all over, it's all going to end, and then you get a wonderful review and it'll just pick you right up. So say thank you. Say thank you to everyone who reviews it well. You don't have to say thank you to the people who hate your book. They're entitled to their opinion and you shouldn't hunt them down, but you don't have to thank them for it either.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good answer.
Okay, so we've got another audience question from Sandy. How does one get Apple, Nook, or Kobo to feature your books all at the same time, and what kind of magic does that take? Do you know, Carolyn?
Voodoo magic.
Yeah.
So I don't know the magic. I think that I'm hoping that being on the USA Today list will help me be able to get features with them. But I know that some people who have done well in the past have agents, and they'll contacts that they'll call, and they'll hook them right up, and they'll put them in. I think it's Kobo. Is it Kobo first, and Nook, or is it Nook first and Kobo next? I get them confused, but they have newsletters that go out, and you can be featured in them, and you can be put on their front homepage. And I hear it's a wonderful thing. Hasn't happened, but I hear it's great.
What have we got here? What's your next step? I mean, are you, your next book that you bring out, are you going to try and get that one on a bestseller list, or is it just once a year kind of event, do you think?
So I don't really think I'd have a chance of doing it without a bundle. I mean, at least at this stage in my career, I have about a little over 1,000 people on my mailing list, a little over 1,000 people on my Facebook page. So I'm not exactly a popular author. Hopefully this will help grow my audience. How many words and pages are my books? I see questions popping up. Am I supposed to ask? I'm supposed to wait. Oh, wait.
Usually, this is just me and Erica talking to each other, but yeah, that's a question from the audience.
So, how many words and pages are my books? So, they range. I have a novella that's only about 100 pages, but they range. The rest of the novels range from 250 pages to, I think, 550 pages for Ragnarok. I do have a lot of short stories. The bundle that I made the USA Today list was 753 pages.
So you've said you've got a lot of short stories. Do you think that it's been beneficial for you to have short stories? Because a lot of people say you should only write novels if you want sales and money. But what are your thoughts on that?
I don't agree. So I'm a very slow writer. I publish about 2 novel-length works a year, and for a long time I've been releasing short stories in between. And I used to release the short stories just by themselves, and it was great for my fans. I'd say, hey, you're on my mailing list here. Here's a free short story, and I would give a link to Smashwords, and a lot of people would just wind up buying them. And this past year, I discovered putting them in short story anthologies with other authors, and my fans love them. And they also, I've been able to get great new fans by pooling, the audience of all of these other authors. And I guess out of it, they get somebody who knows a lot about promo sites. So we trade skills. Somebody is like good at covers, somebody knows a lot about the promo sites. Somebody else has a great editor, and they'll do the editing. And so we just trade skills like that.
Mm-hmm. So we've got another question from the audience. You're very popular, Carolyn. But this is from John Monk. Do you think the Loki Norse myth genre is too saturated?
And I said, I hope not.
Don't write in it. Stay away. No, actually, I don't. I think. I think. There's a lot of other gods, and Thor is probably more popular and more well-known, and, be careful if you write about Loki. So some pagans have, the paganism is a living religion, and there are pagans, and there are people who specifically, they specifically follow Loki, and if you get him wrong, it's probably not good for you because, and a lot of people, I think there is a, this gets so controversial. Yes, my book, it makes Loki is the anti-hero, I guess you would say in my book. He does help, that he helps. He's not like heroic because he's a good guy. He isn't he's not bad and he's not good. He pursues his own interests. And you know, I think a lot of people, they want to put, you know, they want to do good and bad, and Loki, if you look at Snorri, you might say Snorri has him actually murder Balder, which is like really a hideous thing. But you have, if you go into it, know that Loki, that's not, Snorri said that, but that is not the way that it's interpreted throughout the whole pagan religion. Saxo, another guy who wrote about the death of Balder and a little bit about Loki, all of the Norse gods, Loki wasn't involved in that story at all. You know, he had nothing to do with Baldur's death. And so you have to know that when you go into, if you go in to make Loki a major character, you should really do your research, and it's okay to make him the villain, but know that Marvel is not mythology. And yeah, be respectful of what he actually means.
Yeah, be respectful of the source material, whatever it is. If you're going to be drawing upon those things, then try to get it right,
Yeah.
or at least pay some homage in some type of way. Look at like Rick Riordan with the Percy Jackson series. You know, if there was a great acclaim about those books, and even Rick Riordan hates on those movies because they got the gods and the characters in the books completely wrong, apparently.
Oh, yeah, I haven't read his series. I've stayed away from Magnus Chase. I might look into it now. I stayed away from a lot of books about Loki while I was writing about it because I didn't want to. I mentioned them like in my story,
Mm-hmm.
the urban fantasy. I mean, like they bring up American gods. Like Marvel is alluded to. A lot of things are alluded to. The Hobbit is alluded to. But
Yeah.
I stopped like all my Loki reading, writing actually, except I did read nonfiction, but I didn't read any fiction the whole accounts.
Well, I think it has to get to a point where you have an interpretation, or at least you have your version of this mythos, and you have to kind of draw a line at a certain point, and rather than give and take too much towards where either the audience or the mythos says one thing or another, you have to stand your ground. Eventually, this is my character. This is my version of this guy.
Yeah.
Is there anything
Question.
else you wanted to ask? No, you can't ask that question. He just realized he's answered it. I know what you're talking about, X.
Yeah. Okay. American Gods. I have read it, and it was good. Deal with it. Okay.
For anyone listening, going, what? John Monk just asked a question about if Carolyn had read American Gods, and since she
and Erica can read my mind and insists upon it.
Since Carolyn just mentioned American Gods, his question was answered before he had a chance to answer it anyway.
Well, and that's mostly what the series that I'm working on is about. It's posing a larger question upon if there was gods of multiple pantheons running around. What would the bigger ramifications be if you had all these hot-headed immortals actually being able to cause shit and kind of have to not, because that would be not cool in the grander scheme of the things. The world is relatively peaceful as far as our skirmishes involving war. That's one thing, but Ragnarok is a totally other thing.
I guess you're right there. They're two completely different extremes.
The last book in my series is Ragnarok, and
Yeah, exactly. There's any kind of form of mythology has its judgment day. So, as far as the mortal realm goes, that it's nothing in comparison to what that's offering up story wise.
Well, my story series is also about like change and the fall of the gods. Like Ragnarok is the fall of the gods and Twilight of the gods, and it's really about mortals like standing up and taking control too. So I was like, if I love Ragnarok.
Yep, it's a good story.
Oh, we've got some writing craft type questions and writing general writing questions here from the audience. Sean wants us to ask you if you could tell us about your writing process. Are you a plotter or a pantser, and do you use beta readers and things like that? How do you write, Carolyn?
Oh,
Did I fall off? Uh-oh.
she looks she looks frozen.
Oh no! Christian broke her.
Krishan, why did you do that?
Oh well, hopefully she'll come back in a moment.
Erica, same question. What's your writing process? Are you a pantser? Are you a plotter? Do you use betas?
But everyone knows this already. I'm a basic outline person. I've even shown you what my bullet points look like. It's like, oh, and then she throws shit at the guy and calls him a dick and stuff like this. But and then I just pants the rest of it. Pants the bits in the middle of the bullet points, making sure I get to the next bullet point. Or if I don't, I rearrange it so something else can happen. As for beta readers, no, I don't have beta readers. That's what my reviewers are for. What about you?
I am a definite plotter. I am all over that, and to the point where I'm making more Bibles than I'm making actual first drafts. And then, well, it gets, or at least it gets to that point where I have like 20,000 words written on a 100,000 word book, and I've like 5 or 6 of those. And do I use betas? I have in the past. I'm reconsidering it now, just because what I find is it's hard to be getting that back and forth between every single one of those people. So it gets down like any kind of the ARC review or things. You hope for 100% back as far as feedback, but it tends to be hopefully 75.
You got more questions for you in the comments there.
For me?
Yeah, for you. I'm going to see if I can find her on Kboards.
To me, how deep does my plotting go? Oh, it goes to the point where I always start with the ending. Like, no matter what, the ending is you have to be building towards something in the end, and I'll always focus on that first. And Erica's singing.
Well, it was how deep is your love? I'm not very good at singing, so it's no quiet.
Oh, yeah. I was confused. I didn't know if you were providing background music to me or something like that.
Yeah, because you're that awesome.
I am. Thank you. So yeah, how deep does the plotting go? Quite deep, but not to that point where you can't discover something along the way. I think you should have you know where you're going, not only to the end of the book, but scene by scene. And if you find something neat along the way, oh, that's great.
Mine end up getting fucking pregnant or something when I'm not looking. I'm just fuck off. I don't need to get pregnant. Ruin my book. Sorry. Any other questions for Xavier while we're here and waiting for our guest to return? Anyone?
Matt says, "Oh hi." That's about it. Sandy says, "Oh no, my first live show and it goes down." Yeah.
Oh, in the good way?
I
Ah.
certainly didn't do that.
You didn't go down.
Not over the internet, no.
No. Well, you can. Yeah, I'll stop it.
Yep. You better. Well,
Will Xavier come on clean shaven so we can make fun of him? We don't need him to be clean shaven to make fun of him.
I
John.
know. You could do that immediately, and I'll just laugh about it. I'm too Canadian to really harbor any kind of insults. But will I come on clean shaven? Wow. You don't want to see that. I'm a pretty boyish looking young male as is. So if you see this without fur on the face, yeah, you'll see something that's more akin to like an 8-year-old boy. Yeah, I look like a child if I'm shaven. Like people card me as far as like at stores when I used to buy cigarettes and when I go to buy booze or something like that. I get carded all the time with the full giant beard. And I've a bigger beard right now than I have in a while. Matt,
Hey, welcome back.
Matt Morris says that he'll shave if I do. That's
what
not.
will he shave?
Yeah,
Your
that's
head?
not, yeah.
Your unmentionables?
Yeah. Welcome back, Carolyn. This is what you've had to do. This is what we've had to deal with. Once it's just me and Erica talking to the audience, then it's all just going to be going.
It's
not,
worse.
It's all very interesting. Shaving what? I want to know too.
Well, he doesn't have a beard, so.
Yeah. People wanted to know if I'd come on without a beard and for everyone to make fun of us. And one of the audience, Matt Morris, said that he'd shave if I do, and I don't know what he'd shave, but I don't think it would be as impressive a feat because I look like a Gerber baby when I shave this.
Should we get back on topic? There was a question I was asking.
I don't know. I think I'm good. I think we can stick to this. No, please let's carry on.
So, welcome back, Carolyn. And this is a question from Krishawn. She wants us to ask you about your writing process, if you're a plotter or a pantser, and if you use betas or if you schedule your writing.
So I have a vague idea that I'll finish with a book within a certain amount of time. But I have betas. I have about 6 betas that I use, and then I have a couple editors that I run it by too. And I am definitely a pantser. I did try to do with the Archangel Project. I tried really hard to create an outline of it, and it just all went to hell. So I'm a pantser. I have a certain key scenes that I want to write, and then and I usually have like key scenes of I had the key scenes of Ragnarok written in my head. Like when I started writing I Bring the Fire, and I definitely have that. I have that for the Archangel Project too. So I have the last scenes in Heretic. It will be. I hesitate to say trilogy because I've already added a short story to it. But there will be 3 main books, but then I might do a sort of a spin-off series with some of the popular characters that I really like.
That's good. I think that more and more we're seeing that with the romance specifically. If they don't completely have enough spotlight on those side characters, like with Buffy the Vampire Slayer or something like that, people would probably want to see what is going on between Xander and Anya or whatever. Like they have these side romances going on versus the main romance, and that in themselves can very much be their own stories.
Yes.
Yes, Buffy is romance, Erica.
I wasn't. Yeah.
There's like 3 major love arcs across that entire series.
Yep. And vampires and ass kicking and coming of age. And
yeah, it was a good show. Exactly.
It's not just romance, is what I'm saying.
Romance is usually happily ever after, and that would be Buffy getting together with, what was it, Angel, the first vampire. That would have been romance.
I like to think that they did in hell.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I Bring the Fire is definitely not a romance like that. So, yeah, there is romance. There's a lot, but it's not that kind of romance.
No, it's interesting romance.
Oh.
Well, it's a romance that I can read.
Uh-huh. You might want to keep quiet now, X.
I have a lot of male fans, actually. And,
Yeah, it surprises me when I get male fans or reviewers contacting me. I'm like, huh, really? You're interested in the 40-year-old woman who's run away from her husband and finds a hot biker guy to fuck on the highway? Really? You know, I'm kind of like, never would have thought I'd have males interested.
It just really connected with what's going on in my life and what I'm going through right now.
Who knows? Maybe they want, it's like you write heroes where the women want to be with them and the guys want to be like them. Maybe, they're fantasizing that the younger man with the older woman who has.
You wrote his heart, Erica. You wrote his heart.
He doesn't say much. He does a lot, but he doesn't say much. Okay, should we go back to
please.
some questions? Okay, sorry.
I can ask one if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
In your initial Kboards article that we had kind of browsed through, that we initially caught our attention, was there any? You quoted a couple different people, but what was the main inspiration behind this large kind of going all in at one kind of theorized plan and just executing and going? Like, were there any inspirations or individual people that were kind of giving you ideas of how to approach this? Rambling.
Yeah. Oh no! She's fallen off again.
Oh no! I hate my.
She broke her this time.
Now you're blaming me. Okay, fair enough.
I'm speculating.
Still here.
Oh.
Do you want me to summarize? Do you want me to summarize X's really long rambling question?
Okay, summarize it.
Okay, so who inspired you to try for the best-selling author list, and did they help give you ideas as well?
Yes, but I forgot his name. It's a fantasy.
Was it Domino Finn?
No.
No?
It's somebody else, and he posts. I could look it up if I went to Kboards. I'm kind of afraid to test my connection too much here, but yeah, I got it. I got the idea from another person on Kboards who said he was going to go for the bestseller list, and he actually posted his plan and all the sites he used, and I modified it because there have been changes, like Book Barbarian has come out. Book Barbarian is awesome for us fantasy and sci-fi people. Yay! Yeah. And so I modified it, but that was the first time I realized that you could actually try for the bestseller list and conceivably make it.
Mm-hmm. And you, like you said, Kboards has probably played quite a huge part in your whole preparation and going through pushing with the marketing. What else did Kboards do to help push you along?
Well, a lot of people on Kboards have said that I've been very nice and helpful by sharing things with them, and they actually shared their posts with their Facebook groups, and that was huge. Like, I'm sure that played a big role too. It's hard to quantify, but I mean, some of the people bought the book, but I think really the sharing probably, and I probably should have said that out front, because I don't have a huge Facebook reach, but with all the people on Kboards, I'm sure that gave me a lift. And some of them have actually read it, so they. And so, I think when you get an author who says, I read this and it was great, that helps a lot. That can generate a lot of sales. So, yeah.
What would you think is your biggest takeaway from that entire experiment, I suppose?
Oh, Well, actually, if you're gonna ask me about like sharing it on Kboards, I was really relieved that everyone was nice. Um, I have been one-starred before, and it's been like, and people have like lifted things in off of Kboards and like posted it in the one-star review. And I honestly, I mean, and that's terrible, but in the end, I thought, Kboards has really helped me. I would never have done this without Kboards, so I'm going to post it, and maybe somebody else will find it useful. And the response I got was just overwhelmingly positive. So that was kind of, it was great because they're great people. I've met like so many friends on Kboards, and sometimes some bad things happen, and you can like it can make it hard it can seem like the bad that there's much more bad than good sometimes. So it was a really good experience.
Very nice. So for your next promotion, what steps are you going to be going into that, and perhaps that maybe you didn't take advantage of this time?
Well, like I said, I fixed the Facebook ad thing and just do it consistently. And I can't tell you because by the time I'm ready to do a promotion that's this big again, the market will have changed. One of those sites that I use will have like gone down the gutter. There'll be a new site that has come up, so I can't really say that. I do have an anthology that's going to be on a BookBub. So, what? One thing. Oh, I thought about it. I would have kept it at 99 cents longer, and I would have said, "Hey, BookBub, just can you keep it up on your site like for 2 weeks or something?" And I would have done that. That was that's one big thing I would have changed.
Okay. Yeah. That's good. You have anything to ask there, Erica?
What were you thinking the moment that the whole time period started from the Monday to the Sunday? Could you take us through probably what you were thinking and how you were feeling as the whole week played out till the deadline?
Oh, I was like a nervous wreck, and I hardly slept, and I kept worrying about something going wrong. And then it was just all about Facebook ads and how could I make the Facebook ads more appealing, and how I was constantly tweaking them, trying to get the best ad. I spent so much time, and I spent so much time thanking everyone. I thanked every single person, or at least I tried to thank everyone who helped me out, and I wrote maybe 500 words that whole week. I was so stressed out.
Well, that tends to come with actually, giving a hoot about what you're doing. So with that, do you feel that there are some things about what you had strategized that you feel like you could replicate over and over? Like, I know that you said no matter what, the market's always going to be changing. But I guess what do you think is going to last no matter what? I suppose.
Okay, here are some things. First of all, so I ramped up before the sale. So BookBub was on Thursday, and I had sites lined up for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday up to the sale, and that was a really good thing. By the time the sale hit, I was already 300 in the rankings. Amazon tends to give greater credence to steady, consistent sales rather than to a huge spike. So I'm almost positive that like really helped. I went up all the way to number 16 on Amazon site, and I'm almost positive that had a lot to do with it. So if you can do that, I mean, you might not be able to do that if like your sale is on a Monday, and you still might make it. But I would say that like if you're on like Tuesday or Wednesday, make sure that you have sites lined up before that promotion to give you the lift.
Yeah, I think that's mostly what I see most people falling into those problems with, where they don't put that initial attempt at marketability before they actually do the sale. You have to have that at least a week lead in of potential sales, or at least trickling sales, and that's why a lot of times you'll see people release a book, have it on for out for a little while for those ARC readers at least to catch on and put their reviews up, and then they'll do the sale, because at least there will be a little bit of momentum behind it. Erica, anything from the audience?
No, they're basically just asking questions that have already been answered, so I'm kind of tapping away and repeating what's been said, so I don't have anything, I'm afraid. You'll have to come up with something again next.
Yeah. Nook, KDP, it's all the same to me.
What about what do you recommend for people who are just starting out? They're on the lower end, maybe only getting that first book out, or they've got the first one or two out. What do you recommend they should do in order to see an increase in sales at the very least?
At the beginning, I would say go into Kindle Unlimited. I'm wide. You cannot get on the USA Today bestseller list if you're in Kindle Unlimited. You have to be wide. But I would say stick in Kindle Unlimited, and honestly, I didn't really do any promotion for the first year or so that I was writing. And I was writing fan fiction, and I would mention in my fan fictions, hey, I'm also self-publishing, so if you want to give it a look, so just go to my profile, or my writer, the name's Gockel. So I had like 1 or 2 sales a day, and I was really happy with that. I didn't go to Kboards. I didn't know that you could make money. So I was just really happy, just la la la, I'm just writing and having fun with it. And I actually think that's really important. I mean, you might hit it big with your first book, but it's kind of unlikely. So you should enjoy what you're doing.
And how much of a difference are you finding between the markets between urban fantasy and the alien invasion or first contact kind of stuff, like going from fantasy and sci-fi? They're very different markets, even though it's all within the realm of speculative fiction.
So I'm I'm doing better with Archangel Down than I did at the beginning of I Bring the Fire. I'm not like in the thousands level. Like my rank has stayed, it's around 50,000, which isn't great. And the biggest mistake I made is I actually have friends who are like much more successful than me, and they're just like, and they were able to just like release into Kindle Unlimited at full price, and they did awesome. And I was like, maybe I should release at 99 cents. And they're like, no, it was, you don't need to do that. And I released at $3.99, I think $2.99, but I should have released at 99 cents. And just for my fans from the get-go, because that would have lifted me a lot higher. And I think that when I release Noah's Ark, for people who are on my mailing list, I will release it at 99 cents, and I will have Archangel Down at 99 cents. But as soon as the ranking starts to show and I start appearing on the list, I'll lift Noah's Ark, the second book in the series, up to at least $2.99.
Yeah. We have a serious question here from an audience member. John Monk would like to know, what is your favorite color?
Ultramarine.
Ultramarine, nice. Well, we're almost out of time, so Carolyn, is there any words of wisdom or anything else you would like to add?
So I think you should love to write. If you get into this business, you better like writing. You better have something that motivates you, because it can be a long time before you're successful. So yes, find something that you love to write, and accept criticism. Get beta readers. Definitely get beta readers. Ones that make you cry. And
cry for good reasons, or cry because, oh my God.
Oh my God, I have to rewrite the whole entire book. You need that. You need those people who, yeah, you need it.
Especially starting out.
Yeah, honest criticism is key, no matter what. I definitely wish that people would have been more blunt with me when I put out a book about a cigarette-smoking dinosaur.
That sounds awesome.
That's what everyone says, but then you don't see it at the top of the Kindle charts.
Okay.
You better write the porn parody version so you can earn even more money.
We've been through this, Erica. I'm not writing any kind of porn version. That was supposed to be Jay Chastain's job.
But he fucked off, didn't he?
He did. He left me with a lovely film noir-esque dinosaur novel without a porn version to go with it.
Yeah.
You left me high and dry. Really dry.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show, Carolyn. I'm sure it's been an experience.
Yeah, technical issues aside, I think it's been quite an experience.
So yes, thank you for taking some of your precious time and joining us on the show and answering our questions.
Thank you for interviewing me. It's been great. Thank you so much.
Glad you enjoyed it. And thank you, of course, to our live audience and also to our listeners who'll be listening later on. If you want to find out more information, including the links to the Kboards page, you can go to our website. It's www.selfpublishingroundtable.com, and we will have the show notes out tomorrow at noon EST time. Okay.
And if you want to join in on the after party, we will be sending a link. It's up to you, Carolyn, if you want to hang around for that. Some people like to come in and chat after the show, but it's up to you if you want to hang around for an extra couple minutes.
Okay. I'll answer any questions.
Okay. But unless Erica has anything else to say, I'm going to say good night, internets.
Good night. Good morning, Erica.